Imagine spending $67 billion to build the world's most advanced fighter jet, one that could supercruise, evade radar, and outmaneuver anything in the sky, only to shut down the entire production line after making fewer than 200 of them. That's not fiction. That's the story of the F-22 Raptor. A jet so advanced, it actually failed. Not because it wasn't good enough, but because it was too good for its own political, financial, and bureaucratic reality. Welcome to another episode of Red Tape File, where we dig into the military tech so brilliant, it crashed headfirst into the concrete wall of bureaucracy. And today we're talking about a plane that could have dominated the skies, but got grounded by Congress. Back in the 1980s, with the Cold War in full swing, the U.S. Air Force issued a challenge. They wanted a fighter jet that could dominate the skies into the 21st century. It needed stealth, it needed speed, it needed agility, and it needed to destroy Soviet jets before those jets even knew what hit them. Enter the Advanced Tactical Fighter Program. Out of that, two prototypes emerged, the YF-22 and the YF-23. Both were incredible feats of engineering. But in 1991, Lockheed Martin's YF-22 was declared the winner. Thus began the journey of the F-22 Raptor. With a top speed above Mach 2, the ability to supercruise without afterburners, stealth technology that made it nearly invisible to radar, and maneuverability that left other jets in its vapor trail, the F-22 wasn't just a fighter. It was a revolution. But perfection has a price. And in the case of the F-22, that price climbed quickly. What started as a plan for over 700 aircraft eventually whittled down to just 187 production units. Why? Money. Lots of it. The cost per jet ballooned to an eye-watering $412 million when you factor in research and development. Even if you look at just the production cost per unit, you're still talking about roughly $150 million per plane. Then there was maintenance. For every hour the F-22 spent in the air, it required over 30 hours of maintenance on the ground. Its stealth coating, a marvel of chemistry and material science, was delicate. Flying through rain or near salt water? Bad idea. Want to store it outside? Hope you have a few billion in spare hangars. So yes, it was an engineering masterpiece, but it was also a logistical nightmare, and lawmakers were paying attention. By the early 2000s, the Cold War was a memory, and the war on terror had shifted the military's priorities. Air dominance against near-peer threats suddenly took a backseat to drone strikes, counterinsurgency, and urban warfare. The F-22, with all its prowess, wasn't designed for that kind of fight. Then came the political side. Export restrictions on the F-22, put in place to protect its sensitive technology, meant no allies could buy it. Unlike the F-35, which was designed with international partnerships in mind, the F-22 was strictly American. And America didn't want to foot the whole bill. In 2009, Defense Secretary Robert Gates recommended ending the F-22 program. President Obama agreed. The final nail in the coffin was hammered in with the FY 2010 budget. No more Raptors, the production line was shut down. And just like that, one of the most powerful airframes in history became a boutique item in the U.S. arsenal. The shutdown of the F-22 program wasn't just a military decision. It was also an industrial and strategic loss. When production ended, so did the ecosystem that supported it. Tooling was dismantled. Suppliers moved on. The workforce, engineers, machinists, specialists, scattered. That knowledge base? It didn't vanish overnight, but it wasn't preserved either. Now, when the Air Force talks about sixth-generation fighters, they're essentially starting from scratch. And let's talk mission capability. The F-22 was designed to ensure U.S. air superiority well into the 21st century. But with fewer than 150 combat-ready jets today, its footprint is limited. They're excellent, but scarce. They can't be everywhere. Despite its limited numbers, the F-22 has had its moments to shine. In 2018, during rising tensions in Syria, a pair of F-22 Raptors intercepted two Russian Su-25 ground attack jets that were flying dangerously close to U.S.-backed coalition forces near the Euphrates River. The Raptors engaged in a series of warning maneuvers, including simulated engagements, to drive the Russian aircraft away without firing a single shot. the stealth jets remained unseen until the very moment they chose to reveal themselves, showcasing the element of surprise baked into their design. This wasn't a dogfight, it was deterrence, and it worked. The Su-25s backed off. The event highlighted exactly what the F-22 was built for: air dominance, intimidation without escalation, and strategic presence. It sent a message, not just to Russia, but to every potential adversary watching. While the F-22 was getting mothballed, another jet was taking off, literally and politically. The F-35 Lightning II, part of the Joint Strike Fighter program, was designed with a different philosophy: be good enough for everyone. It wasn't as fast, it wasn't as agile, it wasn't as stealthy, but it was versatile, and it was designed to be exportable. Allies could buy it. They could even help build it. That meant jobs, partnerships, and political buy-in. The result? Over 1,000 F-35s have been produced. It's flown by more than 17 nations. And while it's had its fair share of cost overruns and software bugs, it survived because it was politically invincible. That's the lesson the F-22 never learned. In Washington, survival means more than just air superiority. It means you have to win on Capitol Hill too. The F-35 has recently proven itself in active combat operations that extend beyond its original design concept. In early 2024, the U.S. launched a series of preemptive and retaliatory strikes on Houthi-controlled radar installations, drone sites, and anti-ship missile positions in Yemen, following multiple attacks on international shipping lanes in the Red Sea. The Air Force deployed a mix of aircraft for the operation, including the F-35. The F-35s were critical in the initial wave of the campaign, using their stealth capabilities to penetrate defended airspace and strike key infrastructure that enabled Houthi attacks. Not only did they hit their targets with high precision, but they also provided crucial ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, data to other assets in the operation, essentially acting as flying command centers in addition to being frontline fighters. Unlike previous platforms, the F-35's networked sensor suite allowed it to relay real-time targeting data to Navy destroyers in the region, enabling a synchronized offensive. This level of coordination wasn't possible with legacy aircraft, and it proved decisive. In short, the F-35 showed it can deliver tactical impact in real-world missions, not just exercises. It wasn't perfect, but it was effective, versatile, and survivable. In many ways, the F-22 was too early, too pure, and too uncompromising. It was a monument to what engineers could build when given free rein, but it lacked the diplomatic and economic scaffolding to support it. No export revenue, no partner nations, no built-in legislative protection. The F-35, on the other hand, was engineered with politics in mind. Every part of the jet came from a different congressional district. It was harder to kill politically than it was to fly. And that's how you survive in a defense budget. Fast forward to today, near-peer threats are back. China is building its J-20 stealth fighter. Russia has its Su-57, limited as it may be. And suddenly, that air dominance the F-22 was designed to ensure? It's relevant again. Too bad we don't have enough Raptors to go around. The Air Force has even floated the idea of restarting F-22 production. But without the tooling, without the workforce, and without a modernized design, the idea is a non-starter. It's cheaper to leapfrog to 6th-gen fighters than it is to revive the Raptor. That's how bureaucratic short-sightedness comes back to bite you. Imagine an alternate timeline where the US built 400 or even 500 F-22s. Imagine a fleet of Raptors leading air campaigns, deterring adversaries, and training Allied pilots through export variants. Imagine a robust defense industrial base continually improving the design, developing upgrades, and keeping the line warm for future variants. Instead, we got 187, and a production line that was dismantled just as the strategic environment circled back to justify it. The F-22. Raptor wasn't a failure of engineering. It was a failure of bureaucracy. It was a jet that won the war in the lab, the hangar, and the sky, but lost it in budget meetings and export controls. Meanwhile, the F-35, imperfect as it is, thrives. Because it was built not just to dominate airspace, but to dominate budget line items, diplomatic meetings, and defense industry contracts. If there's a lesson here, it's this. The best tech doesn't always win. The best politics does. Think the US is the only one getting in its own way? Next time, we head across the Atlantic, where the Eurofighter Typhoon shows what happens when four nations try to build one jet, and all want different things. Subscribe, drop a comment below, and let us know which billion-dollar disaster you want us to unravel next. Until then, fly high, and keep your procurement paperwork in order.